Search an abandoned store for supplies.
You approach the abandoned corner store cautiously. The shattered glass crunches beneath your boots. Inside, flickering fluorescent lights cast eerie shadows over overturned shelves. Cans and bottles lie scattered, some smashed, others intact. The air is thick with dust and the faint stench of rot. Somewhere in the back, a faint shuffling noise clicks your nerves into high alert. Your eyes catch a half-open drawer that might contain something useful. A shelf nearby holds a dusty, rusty crowbar. On the floor, a battered backpack is slumped against the counter, zippers partially open. Suddenly, a low growl echoes from behind a toppled display. The dead are near.
Grab the crowbar and prepare to defend yourself.
Your fingers close around the stubbornly rusted crowbar, its cold weight a small comfort in the looming threat. The growl grows louder. The shuffle turns into the dragging approach of a lone zombie stumbling into the store, its glazed eyes locking onto you with terrifying hunger. You tense, muscles coiled to swing. The zombie's rotten hands reach out blindly as it lurches forward. The first strike with the crowbar clangs against decayed bone, but your aim is true. The creature reels back, snarling but not done yet. More groans stir in the distance outside the store. This fight might be your last stand if you don't end it fast.
Swing again to finish it off quickly.
The crowbar arcs low and hard. It connects with a sickening crunch that echoes through the silence left behind in the store. The zombie's head snaps back, its jaw hanging loose and eyes blank. Collapses, twitching, then still. But the victory is fleeting. From outside, a chorus of guttural moans crescendos. The undead horde senses the commotion, and now more shuffling feet press close to the store's entrance. Your chest tightens, not just from exertion, but from the overwhelming dread that this fight is far from over.
Barricade the entrance with whatever debris you can find.
You shove overturned shelves and broken crates against the store's front door, stacking them as fast as your adrenaline lets you. The groaning moans outside turn into frantic banging. Undead fists hammer against the barricade, desperate for flesh. Crack spiderweb across the wood and glass. One angry push sends a burst of splinters flying near your face. Dust stings your eyes as you scramble for more debris, heart pounding like a drumbeat. Time is running out. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoes behind you. A glass bottle shards on the floor. The sound might have drawn attention inside the store.
Grab a broken bottle shard as a makeshift weapon.
You snatch a jagged shard of glass from the shattered bottle, feeling its cold, uneven edges press into your palm. A cruel but necessary weapon. The pounding on the barricade grows frantic, splinters raining around your feet as the undead push harder, their rage bubbling just beyond the thin barrier. Suddenly, the makeshift barrier wobbles precariously. With a heavy groan, one section cracks loose. A foul stench creeps closer as decomposed hands claw through the gap. Your heart races in your chest, the fight or flight instinct screaming for action.
Lunge forward and slash at the nearest hand with the glass shard.
You thrust the jagged shard forward with desperate strength, slicing through the first clawing hand before it can breach the barrier. The undead shriek in ragged frustration, the pain triggering a violent jerk that sends them tumbling backward, but only briefly. Another hand, slick with rotten flesh, reaches through the widening gap, followed quickly by a decayed arm. You feel the horrible cold brush your skin as the horde tries to claw its way in. Breathing ragged and heart-pounding, you realize you won't hold this line much longer.
Make a break for the back exit while distracted.
Seizing the moment, you dart past the struggling hands, your foot catching on some broken glass but barely slowing you. The back exit looms ahead, a dented metal door that might just be your salvation. The barricade behind you bursts with a wet, tearing sound as more undead force their way through. You slam your shoulder into the door, It grudgingly yields, revealing a cracked alley bathed in the dying light. But freedom tastes bitter. The alley is narrow, littered with broken limbs and slippery puddles of something dark and sticky. Somewhere close, a distant scream slices through the evening air. Your escape is only the beginning of the nightmare.
Duck into a nearby building's open doorway and press yourself into the shadows.
You slip into the darkened doorway just as the first hands claw at the alley's edge. The building's interior is pitch black, smelling of mold and mildew, whispering with old drafts that stir loose papers and dust motes. Your chest heaves, muscles tense, as you collapse against the cold brick wall hidden in shadow. Outside, the shuffles and guttural groans ebb and flow, the horde searching blindly for their lost prey. You strain to hear any other movement, friend or foe, but the silence presses in like a shroud. Your fingers brush against something on the dusty floor. A half-empty water bottle and a crumpled, unlabeled pill bottle. Could be luck or a trap. The city outside is a cage closing tighter with every breath.
Stealthily edge toward the back of the building, searching for a better exit.
You slide along the grimy wall, every breath quiet and controlled. The creak of broken floorboards barely whispers underfoot as you edge toward what you hope is a back exit. The dark swallowed your silhouette, but a single flickering light bulb overhead threatens to betray you. Ahead, a heavy metal staircase descends into a basement, while a narrow corridor to the left hums with the soft buzz of electricity and a faint draft of stale air. The smell of damp concrete and rust grows stronger. Suddenly, muffled voices echo faintly down the hallway. A debate? Argument? You can't be sure yet if they're friend or foe, but sound so close brings risk. Your pulse throbs in your ears, decision time cutting every second sharper.
Sneak quietly down the corridor toward the voices to investigate cautiously.
You press yourself against the shadowed wall and tiptoe down the corridor, each step carefully placed on the cracked tiles. The voices grow clearer, gruff, tense, and hurried. Two figures stand in an electric blue haze near a flickering panel, exchanging urgent words about supplies and someone going missing. Their eyes catch a glint of movement. Time freezes for a heartbeat. Then one pulls a weapon from beneath their shirt. Your cover is blown. The closer figure snarls. Who's there? Show yourself.
Throw a small object to distract and slip past while they're distracted.
You quickly scan your surroundings and spot an empty can lying near the corridor's edge. Gripping it tightly, you hurl it with precision toward a dark corner opposite the voices. The clang of metal hitting concrete echoes sharply. The two figures snap their attention toward the noise, bickering about its source. Seizing the moment, you slip quietly past them, heart pounding like a war drum. But as you round the corridor's bend, a loose tile crunched loudly underfoot, a sound far too loud in this deadly silence. The voices snap back around. There. Don't let it escape. You feel the imminent presence of danger closing in, narrow walls amplifying every sound.
Attempt to climb up a nearby ventilation shaft for temporary concealment.
You leap toward the ventilation shaft's grated opening just within reach. Your fingers dig into the cold metal, the sharp edges biting into your skin as you haul yourself up. The weight of your supplies pulls down, but adrenaline fuels your desperate climb. The grate rattles as the pursuers rush after you, their footsteps pounding and voices rising in frustration below. The shaft is narrow and pitch black, thick with dust and the faint scent of rust. You can feel the distant vibrations of the city through the metal. Halfway in, your boot slips on a slick patch, and a harsh scrape against the metal echoes ominously.
Climb faster despite the risk of another slip.
Pushing through the sting of scraped skin, you clutch the vent's bars tighter and accelerate your ascent. The wet slick remains just beneath your boot, but you shove off with raw determination. Your breath rasps, lungs burning. Every second feels stretched painfully thin. Behind you, frantic footsteps echo louder, accompanied by sharp shouts. The metal grates creak under your weight but hold steady for now. Reaching a junction up ahead, you hear muffled voices and the scraping of a vent cover being pried open. Your temporary refuge is running out.
Pull yourself through the vent cover and hurriedly crawl into the adjacent room.
You wrench the vent cover free just as rough hands begin prying open the grate behind you. Scrambling through the narrow passage, you emerge into a dimly lit back office. The stale air smells of old paper and damp wood, dust motes swirling in shafts of fading daylight from a cracked window. Your heart races as the vent clangs shut behind you. Somewhere beyond the walls, frustrated footsteps are retreating, for now. But the office isn't empty. Scattered across the floor are hastily abandoned weapons, broken radios, and half-eaten rations. A chair teeters near a desk piled with maps and scribbled notes. A faint scratching noise comes from the far corner. Something trapped or hiding.
Investigate the scratching noise cautiously.
The scratching grows louder as you edge closer. Every step measured not to make a sound. Shadows pool in the corner, but you catch a glimpse of movement, small, frantic, and desperate. As your eyes adjust, a pair of wide, terrified eyes meet yours. A scrappy, trembling feral cat, its fur matted and dirty, trapped beneath a fallen beam. The creature stares at you uncertainly, as if weighing friend from foe. The presence is a rare beacon of life and softness in the harsh decay surrounding you. But releasing it might make noise or worse, draw unwanted attention.
Use a piece of cloth to cover your hand and gently coax the cat free.
You rip a strip from your shirt, knotting it into a makeshift glove to shield your hand from potential scratches. Slowly, you stretch it toward the trembling cat, your voice low and soothing. The creature flinches but doesn't bolt. Inch by careful inch, you work to lift the fallen beam, pinning its paw. With a soft yowl, the cat pulls free, darting briefly to press its head against your side before slipping into the shadows beyond. Your heart tightens at the fragile life you've just saved. A flicker of warmth in a cold, unforgiving city. Suddenly, distant footsteps echo from the hallway outside the office, snapping you back to reality.
Quickly hide among the scattered supplies and dim corners.
You flatten yourself against the cold wall, letting the shadows swallow your form. Crates, broken radios, and scattered papers provide a precarious cover as the heavy footsteps grow nearer. The door creaks open and two silhouettes step inside, flashlights slicing through the dimness. They pause, eyes scanning the room, tension radiating off them like heat. One mutters, "Did you hear something? Maybe just rats." The other grunts, raising a rifle but not yet aiming. Your breath catches in your throat. Any sudden move could betray your hiding spot. Your body tenses, every nerve screaming for stillness. You hold your breath, forcing your heart's frantic pounding to subside into silence. The two figures' flashlights sweep past your shadowed nook, close enough to smell sweat and old leather but not to see you. A sudden scuttle from a loose paper pile draws their attention. One curses and moves toward the noise. The other keeps watch with tight eyes and a finger twitching near the trigger of the rifle. They don't spot you. Not yet. A subtle window of chance opens.
Toss a small object to create a noise far from your position as a distraction.
You scan the room for something light and throwable. Your fingers close around a small metal bolt lying among the scattered debris. Silently, you toss it toward the far corner opposite your hiding spot. The bolt clatters against a metal pipe, sending a sharp echo that cuts through the tense silence. Both figures spin toward the noise, their flashlights whipping in that direction. Probably just a rat, One says lower but still wary. Seizing the opportunity, you slip silently toward the vent, heart hammering in your ears. The grate feels cold and unforgiving under your fingertips as you open it, sliding inside just before the figures turn back toward the door. The vents swallow your trembling form as footsteps fade beneath you. But the narrow metal tunnel twists deeper into the bowels of the building, a maze with unknown dangers ahead.
Crawl forward cautiously, listening for any sounds ahead.
You pull yourself deeper into the claustrophobic ventilation shaft, the metal pressing cold and unforgiving against your skin. Every movement sends a faint scrape echoing softly through the tunnel, but your ears strain for any signs of pursuit or threat ahead. The stale air is thick with dust and a faint chemical tang, and through the slats above you glimpse flickers of bluish emergency lights washing the far corridors beyond. Somewhere ahead, a distant murmur drifts, voices low, urgent, and full of barely contained fear. Your palms sweat, heart hammering in your chest as the darkness swallows you whole.
Continue crawling toward the voices, attempting to pick up useful information.
You inch forward along the narrow metal tunnel, the faint murmur growing clearer with every crawl. Two voices drone low, rough with exhaustion and tension. Fragments of their hurried exchange drift through the grated vents. "Safe zone overrun," one curses. "We lost the radio. No way to call for backup." The other replies, voice sharp and angry. "We can't stay here. If the horde finds us, it's over." A third, quieter voice adds, trembling, "What about the others? We can't just leave them behind." The corridor ahead splits, a fork in the vents where the voice's owners could be above either path. Your options tighten like a vice. Every choice could lead closer to salvation or sudden death.
Take the left fork toward the louder voices, ready for confrontation or allies.
You steel yourself and pivot into the left fork of the ventilation tunnel, the louder voices growing steadily clearer. Each scrape against the metal floor feels amplified, but your desperate urge for allies, or at least answers, propels you forward. As you near the vent grate that opens onto a dim corridor, the voices become sharp commands. "Check the perimeter. They could circle back any minute." Your eyes catch sight of rough boots pacing beneath the grated floor, casting shifting shadows. The group, 3 heavily armed survivors, are alert, tense, and clearly expecting trouble. Any wrong move could trigger violence, but they might also be the lifeline you need.
Attempt to quietly slip past the grate and move further down the corridor unseen.
You press your body flat against the cold metal grate, heart pounding as the voices echo mere inches below. Slowly, carefully, you test the edges of the vent cover. It's secured, but old rust gives you hope. With trembling fingers, you work to pry it open, muffling each scrape with the torn piece of cloth from your shirt. The grate shudders slightly but holds. The voices grow louder, their boots pacing closer beneath you. Sweat beads on your brow as you slip through the narrow opening, dropping silently to the cracked concrete corridor beyond. The survivors haven't noticed. Ahead, the corridor forks, illuminated dimly by flickering overhead lights washed in grime. Shadows writhe just beyond the beams. You have moments before discovery is likely.
Head left down the corridor toward the brighter exit sign, hoping for safety.
You slip silently down the corridor, eyes fixed on the flickering exit sign casting a weak, olive glow on the cracked walls. Each step is careful, your senses stretched taut, straining for any hint of danger. The air here smells stale but less oppressive than the vents, carrying faint, distant noises of the city's decay. Dripping water, scuttling rats, somewhere far off, the low growl of undead. As you near the exit sign, the corridor suddenly opens into a makeshift command post. A battered table is strewn with maps, radios, and half-empty coffee cups. Several figures huddle, tense and alert. Their heads snap up as you step into the light, eyes wary, weapons tightening grip. One barks, "Who the hell are you? State your business." Your next move will decide whether you gain allies or become another target.
Raise your hands, explain your situation, and appeal for help.
You slowly raise your hands, palms open and empty, a silent gesture of peace in a world gone mad. "I'm just trying to survive," you say, voice steady despite the pounding in your chest. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I've been hunted, chased. Anyone willing to help me means more than I can say." The group exchanges wary glances. One woman steps forward, rifle still raised but noticeably relaxed. "Name's Mara," she says, scanning you carefully. "You look like you've seen hell, and you might just have a reason to join us. We're stretched thin, but we could use an extra set of hands. Got any skills? Weapons?" Their gazes pierce you, searching for signs of deception or strength.
Describe your experience fighting undead and scavenging. Offer your rusty crowbar and knowledge of the city.
You meet Mara's gaze steadily. "I've been surviving on my own, fighting off the undead with what I have," you say, lifting the battered crowbar to let its worn, rusted edge catch the dim light. "I've scavenged through the city's ruins, learned its back alleys and blind spots. I can help watch your flank, find supplies." Mara nods slowly, measuring your words. "We need all the eyes we can get, and someone who knows how to keep their hands dirty." She signals to the others, who relax slightly but keep wary grips on their weapons. "All right," she says, "you're with us for now. But if you slow us down or betray us," her voice hardens, "let's just say it won't end well." The fragile thread of alliance is woven, but the city's shadows still loom with ever-present peril. Suddenly, a sharp burst of pounding rattles the entrance door. Screams and guttural growls ripple the command post like a rising tide. The horde has found them.
Grab a weapon and prepare to defend the group from the approaching undead.
You snatch up a heavy metal pipe leaning against the wall, its weight solid and familiar in your grip. Around you, others scramble to brace themselves, voices tight with desperate determination. The pounding on the door grows louder, a guttural chorus of snarls and fists hammering wood. The first undead figure crashes through the shattered window beside you, a rotting hand grazing your arm as you swing the pipe in a furious arc. The sickening crunch of bone under metal echoes as your strike connects. Behind you, survivors shout orders, firing hastily and pushing back the encroaching tide. Your breath ragged, muscles burning. You realize this fight will demand every ounce of grit you have, and luck seems thinner than ever.
Focus on fending off the closest undead attackers, trusting the group's support.
The rotten stench of death assaults your nostrils as guttural groans close in from all sides. You plant your feet firmly, swinging the metal pipe in vicious arcs toward the nearest snarling groin-level threat. Bones snap, heads jerk back, and momentary gaps open in the tide of flesh. Behind you, voices rally, rifles bark, and makeshift clubs swing with desperate force. The survivors fight hard, but the horde's pressure is relentless. Every successful blow is paid for with exhaustion and mounting wounds. Your lungs burn, sweat blurring your vision. A shambling brute lunges from the side, claws scraping your ribs with wicked force. Pain spikes, hot and sharp, but adrenaline keeps you upright.
Push back fiercely against the brute, aiming to disable it quickly.
With a roar of defiance and bleeding ribs screaming in protest, you swing the metal pipe with all the force your body can muster directly into the brute's snarling face. The creature staggers back, clutching its shattered snout, but it recovers with unnatural speed, grasping your arm with clawed fingers and pulling you into a bone-crushing grapple. Pain explodes through your side as the undead brute slams you against the wall. Your crowbar and pipe clatter to the floor, out of reach. Struggling futilely, you feel the cold, decomposing grip tighten until your vision blurs and darkness threatens to claim you. The survivors fight on beyond your fading senses, but your fight ends here. The world slips away as the last breath flees your body. Game over. Game over. Would you like to
accept death and end your story here?
The cold grip of the undead brute tightening around you was the final cruel lock to a story written in desperation and pain. Your body goes limp against the grimy wall, the chaotic battle fading into silence. The horde swallows your fate, and the flickering lights dim into eternal night. This is where your journey ends, a stark testament to the unforgiving city at dusk. Thank you for playing. If you ever wish to return and defy fate or explore a new path, the shadows will be waiting.